You know, it would be nice every once in a while to, to watch something straightforward and uncomplicated, but we cannot have that when it comes to Isao Takahata, because every time I watched one of his films in this week alone, well, almost every time, to be frank, but most of the times I've been subjected to one of his works, especially the earlier one, there has to be something that causes my neck to go into whiplash, as it were. There has to be a curveball thrown at my face, causing my neck to snap, back so. And such is the case again with Serohiki no Goshu, which I believe roughly translates to Gauche the Cellist. Now this could have been something nice, something simple, something straightforward and pleasant, like the story of a cellist who is trying to improve himself at the art of playing the cello, as it were. He overcomes his doubts and insecurities and achieves a perfect emotional tune with his own instrument, thus becoming the cellist he always had the potential to be. Now, doesn't that sound like a pleasant little story to immerse yourself into, a tribute to the great classical music? But no, it's an Isao Takahata film, so we cannot have something simple as that. Now, to be fair, this is based off a novel by Kenji Miyazawa. That's really all I know about it, the background, that is. It was from 1982, 62 minutes long, and again, it is obviously a made-for-television animation. You can tell by its format being a TV format. So the premise is that Goshu is not at the best of his talent, so to speak. It's not as good as he could be with the cello. So his conductor urges him to get better. So he goes home to practice some more, trying to get his feelings back together, so to speak, trying to get his act together. And then a talking cat shows up at his doorstep with a trio of tomatoes that he very blatantly stole from his garden. And Goshu is not as much fazed by the fact that he is talking to a cat whom he's standing on his 2 feet. He is rather angry that the cat had the gall to steal his tomatoes and pretend that they were a gift to him. To which he responds by straight up torturing the cat for 2 whole minutes as he plays the Indian tiger hunt with his cello, which, if you are familiar with the piece, it would be the equivalent of playing a early Dragon Force song, in the sense that it's a really fast, really wild performance that would make anybody go crazy. It is so fast. And as it turns out, it causes the cat to launch himself into a frenzy, and he ends up hurting himself trying to escape. And it's deeply, deeply unpleasant. This is played up as comedy, but what I'm actually seeing is a poor animal, talking or not, being tortured. It does not feel right. It does not feel a requited punishment in that sense. So after that, the cat has the gall to criticize his music, to which Goshu responds by using his tongue to light up a match for his smoke. the cat runs away in pain and in fear. Okay, so I did not bother to address this when I reviewed Panda Go Panda last night, because I thought to myself, you know what, this is harmless. It's all in good fun. It's weird and bizarre, and everything that's supposed to happen in the main plot feels like such an out-of-the-blue moment that, again, it causes me whiplash, but it was fine. But this time around, this isn't so fine, honestly. This is a cat being tortured for 2 minutes by a deeply unlikable protagonist. How am I supposed to get behind him and hope that he improves and he gets better and he overcomes his own limits when I don't have any reason to like him at all? But wait, it gets better, because the night after he is still practicing the cello, and then a cuckoo bird shows up and begs him to help him improve his cuckoo birding, as it were. To which Gauche eventually gets so angry at the bird that he threatens to eat him. And the bird reacts by trying to leave, but he keeps smashing his head on the glass because bird. I am not sure what the point of all this is. I know what the point is at the end, but most of what happens in this film does not feel like it adds and builds to that resolution, to that denouement. Rather, it feels like filler at best, and at worst it's showing how deeply, again, how deeply unlikable this protagonist is. Then, the third night, a baby tanuki shows up, and for the first time, this guy is not being a complete douche nozzle, although he casually threatens to make a stew out of him as soon as he sees him. But anyway, they play the cello and the tambourine together. And then the fourth night, a mama mouse with her baby mouse come out of the floorboards and tell him, hey, your music is actually healing animals and little critters and so forth. To which he responds by actually being nice and helpful and affable, and cures the baby mouse of his non-specific illness by playing the cello. And then he finally plays the cello the way he's meant to, and he does a good job. He plays the Indian tiger hunt in front of a crowd, and they all appreciate it. And I'm thinking of the cat and what he had to go through because of that. This was weird, and not in a funny way, not in a particularly endearing way. I'm not the biggest fan of Isao Takahata as an author. True enough, his stories have an interesting kick, an interesting twist to them, an interesting presentation, and probably the best of intentions, but the execution is oftentimes misguided or just too weird and bizarre to make any legitimate point by the end. Gauche the Cellist is, I think, pretty much indicative of that. By the way, this is his second feature-length film. Well, feature-length in generous terms, it's still a 62 minutes long film and made for television, but nevertheless, it's something that he made. And I guess that is the best way of putting it. Gauche the Cellist, it's something Isao Takahata made. This is the last day of the festival. Please, gods above, give me the strength